A word to the wise, we are an explicit podcast tackling content with adult themes as well as entering spoiler territory if you aren't caught up with us. This week, that would be through the House of Kharn Sagara. We're going to be reading and talking about the whole thing. Should be very fun, very exciting. Hey there, this is Cross.
And this is Josh.
And we are Words and Whiskey, a podcast for veteran and novice readers alike. We tackle fiction novels and love to talk about what we're drinking. You should think of us as your intoxicating weekly book club.
I feel bookish and intoxicated already.
Dude, we just started. This is like, it's too soon. Too early?
It's too soon, too early? Oh, no.
Too soon, too early. We got so much to talk about. There's a whole, 10 chapters here?
You know, autumn's bup.
Autumn's bup, indeed. Today is our 5th episode, talking about Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. Very excited to continue the conversation. We are going to be talking about Becalmed in Motion through the House of Kharn Sagara. With that, Josh, how'd you feel about this week's reading? What are your vibes?
Fucking rad.
Yeah.
Rad. Yeah. Sorry, I was covering my mouth while I said that. I did the autumn's bup joke, and then I spilt beer all over myself. I don't think I got any in my mouth.
Just cool.
Yeah, no, this section's so sick. It has a lot of the things that have been sparingly throughout this series that have been my favorite moments, just kind of shoved into one little section.
Mm-hmm.
This section also has a few spots that are maybe to me the most, and granted, because I do most of this on audiobook, there's it's a little easier to tell. There's a auditory shift on a re-record, but maybe the most sections where I could tell this sentence and this sentence used to be next to each other. They're not anymore.
There's a couple of paragraphs thrown in. Yeah, it's very obvious in the beginning of the series, and then I think it levels out in the next couple books, and then I think it's book 6 or 7 that it comes back hard.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I liked 90% of the sections that I'm positive got added. Sometimes I'm like, you could have actually just stayed there. We didn't need a deep insight. But...
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's one of the interesting things about going back through this work to some degree too, where Christopher's coming back through this and even doing edits. Howling Dark's re-released edits come out, I think, at the end of this year, so this will be a little bit different in text form, but cleaned up in a similar way.
Yeah
And he sees himself doing less and less edits, or fewer edits I should say, as we go further along in the series in general. So he's not expecting big changes or anything like that. There weren't to the previous book, obviously, but it's some of those where it's I wonder if he would stand by those changes now at the end of the series versus then. Just curious.
Yeah, very curious. I mean, literally, it's one moment where, and we'll talk about it whenever we get there, but there's a sentence that was I didn't tell Switch anything, and then he goes on a tangent about how remembering back to Valka not believing him in the quiet, and then the sentence that comes after it definitely ties better to just I didn't tell Switch anything, and I'm I get it, you're giving the reader a little recap, remember that the quiet, but that one I didn't need. Everything else was cool, and then there's one sentence where he says left arm too many times close to each other, and other than that, I love this section.
Left armed, left armed, left armed.
Yeah. And that's just me being a picky bitch. But this section was so sick. I love everything about the Exalted and the demoniacs and that we get to see Sagara. Some actual Kharn Sagara. Some actual androids. The Oracle's fucking cool. Gibson's back, so that's nice. Oh, we see a fucking the Simeon the Redbird. What are those called?
Urktani, yeah.
We see an Urktani, and I thought that was really cool. Their elbows are close to the ground. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb, and I have the headphones really loud, and then someone from my work just texted me. And I don't think I'll ever recover from that. But we're on Do Not Disturb now. And that's my thoughts on this section.
Nice. Love that. Yeah, it's a fun one. I've been thinking about it for a long time. The introduction of Kharn Sagara for me was one of the moments that sealed the series. Is like, oh, I'm so in. Like, this is the craziest motherfucker. Like, just so interesting out the gate, and gave me like a sense of depth of like, okay, Christopher, you can write other the first book doesn't have a ton of other like characters that we really lean on outside of Gibson, I would say, and like the dad and Mataro's in general, but like
yeah. I mean, I would say like you get I think Valka's really central. I think even in the short moments that we get with him in the first book, Switch jumps out as a character. I think Saltus is obviously probably the deepest writing that he's done yet. But yeah, other than that,
for sure. God damn it! Anytime
we're both children of the tanks. Can't wait to still be bringing up Saltus in book 7.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's an exciting thought at the very least to like have someone who feels like a character that we like have a little bit of growth with and time with, even in the context of this novel, right? And it's also, we get the front of the book in a moment, actually, you know?
He was describing it as like, that's the guy. Because in the first book, I'm like, who knows? There's actually a moment in this general section where he's talking about like the combat armor that he puts on just to go walking around on the Enigma of Hours. And it like perfectly describes the outfit from the first one. So my headcanon is just that's future Hadrian standing on the bow of the ship that will one day murder a son as the light flashes back through time and all that stuff. But I really don't know what's going on the first book's cover. It's just a guy with a sword that's not in that book. But this one, I know that guy. That's Kharn Sagara.
Yeah. That fucking guy.
That's the Pirate King himself, you know? He got the One Piece or something.
He definitely found the One Piece. Monkey D. Luffy is dead. Rest in peace. So with that,
just One Piece.
just one stretchy piece. With that, we'll move into Becalmed in Motion. So Hadrian spends most of this chapter listening to in on another conversation. Switch kind of comes for Hadrian here, thinking that maybe he's operating against the Empire in secret through his actions because it doesn't feel right to him. Like this whole thing, this whole operation feels off.
This is the first spot where like it just a little tickle in my brain made me think of this. And then there's a spot like in the second to last chapter of this section that like brought that tickle back where I'm like really thinking, I'm going to give a spoiler warning for a different series with a 3, 2, 1 countdown because it is legitimately a spoiler for a different series.
Do you want to say the series first?
It's Red Rising.
Yeah, okay.
But I want to say this thought, but also it is a spoiler. So again, spoiler.
I'll you say it quick. Yeah, I won't say
Red Rising spoiler for Red Rising coming in hot. It almost gives me Roke vibes, where like I'm foreseeing like a slow push away from Hadrian that will eventually lead to a very heartbreaking turn.
Okay. Interesting.
Spoilers are now done. Spoilers for a different series, Red Rising, are now done.
So with the context of you believing that it's pushing towards a turn, do you think is that a bet? Are you making a bet?
Ooh, I already have a lot of bets that at this point in the second book, I'm pretty positive I'm gonna go my way.
This gonna not come true until like the 7th book in some cases.
Yeah, I'll take that bet.
Okay,
I'll take that fucking bet.
So you think Switch is going to betray him, or what? Paint me your picture.
Yeah, I think that Switch will eventually side with somebody that is opposed to Hadrian in kind of a surprising moment, essentially betraying Hadrian. I think we're gonna get a betrayal at some point. A real like, I thought we were brothers. You used to be Hade, but you're going down this path I can't follow. It's breaking my heart. And then he'll look over at Valka and be like, "You turned Switch against me!" And Valka will be like, Hadrian, you have done that yourself. So I think that might be what's going to happen.
I love it, and obviously love the Star Wars reference. Interesting.
Star Wars, I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it? No idea?
No
clue? Cool. Yeah. You're tearing me apart. I do think
I like how your Valka has just wisps of Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. I was going
cool.
Oh, hi, Mark. I also totally out of voice is because I'm sick at this point, and I'm just not even
so you're
trying.
Like, all right,
it's just
like, I got.
Whatever. This is accessible within the range. Got it. Pull that one in.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's interesting too because
I did not blow up the sun. I did not. It's bullshit.
I did not blow up the sun. It is bullshit.
Go
oh, hi, Vodka.
Vodka. We could call it here.
Yeah,
this is probably as good as this is gonna get.
This actually is as good as the podcast will ever be. We'll see you later.
It's been fun. You can think of us having been.
But
I thought it was serious.
Well, I mean,
started back it up.
I just slammed my beer real quick just to make it real interesting.
Yeah. I went, Leslie, I got fired.
You might have killed me.
You're sick. I'm not allowed to do that.
Right. No, it's good. I would have had
catch a charge over here. A little manslaughter. Yeah. It would be perfect if I killed you through manslaughter right now because
through the internet
laughing because man's laughter, it's
the same. That would be what it is. One of the things that I do find really interesting about this chapter, I just totally rolled over it, just like dead, like flop over that joke as a transition.
Anyway.
One of the things that I do really like about this chapter is it's one of the few times that we aren't just like, we are obviously in Hadrian's perspective, but we're looking in on a scene from the outside, which like never happens obviously from Hadrian. So he's like sneaking little glances and stealing views here until he approaches the table, obviously, and he takes a drink of vodka with his men, doesn't really like it, as they talk about what would await Hadrian if he were to return to the legions. Ultimately, nothing good, which we've known and discussed previously.
Yeah, Hadrian doesn't like anything. I used to think Hadrian liked wine and books, but we also find out in this section he doesn't even really like those. So he still likes wine, though.
He does still like wine. But he did take a drink, so we drink.
Oh, you're right.
Hadrian's drink, yeah.
Hadrian Marlowe drinking the vodkas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to give Hadrian a pass on this. I like to talk shit on him a lot sometimes. I mean, vodka's fine. It kind of sucks. He's right. It tastes medicinal. Like it tastes like a hospital smells.
Absolutely true. It's also what I had as a pre-shot, mostly because I can't smell
all right.
it.
I mean, it works. Like I like liquor and the liquor burn. But it's the least favorite for me.
Definitely fair.
Also, I do like whenever he's listening in on the conversation. They're like, I think Hadrian's taking us down the wrong path. I don't know. He keeps treating this thing like we can trust it and we can't, and maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And then someone makes a joke and they're like, it's like Hadrian always says, now we're off the map. And then Switch is like, yep, here there be monsters. And Hadrian just like doesn't latch on to any of that, like, hey, maybe we should fucking, what's the word for it when pirates overthrow the captain? Mutiny.
Yeah, right.
He just glosses over that. And he's like, I do say that. Like, he gets a little smile and chuckles before he walks up. And I'm like, you know what, Hade? Yeah, go for it. You're killing it. You're not going to see it coming when Switch betrays you for sure.
Definitely not. One of the interesting things to me here, for that same reason, is like, it does seem as though there is like this sort of like hunky-dory nature about this chapter too, which does make me question whether or not this is like a weird Hadrian end of life insert to like flavor the text a little bit in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, would like they really say here there be monsters? That feels so Hadrian coded and like not the way. I mean, like it is what he says and
Yeah.
it is how he acts and behaves. Wouldn't be shocked if people parroted him. But also, it's just like a little. It's got my little conspiracy,
Yeah.
brain shifting.
I think Hadrian. I think this actually happened. I just think Hadrian is remembering it more fondly.
He's embellishing it for
maybe
sure.
the comment. He's like, yeah, they love me.
Yeah.
And it was totally coworkers talking about the boss they fucking hate. Like, no, I think whether it happened or not, I think it's a nice little moment. And then Hadrian gets in there and he doesn't like vodka. And then
Tanaran and Velko arrive.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is when Tanaran shows up.
Yep.
And it's so interesting. Oh, yeah, go for it.
No, fire away.
Oh, it's just so interesting, like the play with tension in this part. Because like Hadrian's usually the guy who's like, no, we're good. Me and him, we're good. But Valka's very like kind of buddy with Tanaran, and very more trusting. And Hadrian's the one who like every time Tanaran moves, he's like putting himself between him and Valka or like getting ready to grab his sword. So it almost kind of shows like this shift of trust where Hadrian was always skeptical of Tanaran, but like really had this idea that they like had an understanding. And I think that he's actually come to like mistrust Tanaran the more that Tanaran has gotten close with Valka, which is like an interesting power play dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the way that this section is split for us too, between like our drinks and cocktails right now, we're kind of like locked in on this extra Solarian ship. And he's really tentative about everything, especially now that they're so close. He's more protective, more insular. There's no like Empire or Legion to fall back on anymore. It's his responsibility. So I think that there is a little bit more ownership and tension, to your point.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even just that there's no Empire or Legion to fall back on. There's, if they accidentally do fall back on him, he gets probably crucified. So
yeah,
that's fun.
Or the white sword.
And I think they do talk about that in this section even a little bit. Is just like, or maybe it's the next chapter.
I think it's here. It's here. That they're like, nothing.
Yeah, they're like, well, they'll probably just pump you out an airlock. They wouldn't waste time on like all that theater. And he's like, I didn't have the heart to tell her how wrong she was.
Yeah.
They would make time for some theater for me, and it's going to be bad. So this really has to work.
Yeah, I really need this one, guys, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it is interesting kind of seeing that like tension play up with Tanaran in a way that I feel like usually Hadrian's the one who's like, no, I know he's scary, but like we can trust him. And then this time Valka's like, yeah, we've been talking, and Hadrian's like, I don't know, he's got horns.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition, like a lot of his responses sort of like seem angry. Tanaran's responses seem angry, and Valka's like, "Are you sure that is what it is that you're reading on his face? Like, do you really know or understand?"
I think it's,
and that's interesting.
That later chapter that's just titled Valka. They really talk about like,
it really comes up there.
They really like kind of dive into that. Like, do you really think you're reading the emotions? Do you think you're reading on him? Like, I've talked to him and it's completely unreadable. It is completely unreadable. And I think that's like such an interesting concept that Hadrian's like attributing human emotions to this creature. And Valka's like, it's not readable. Like you think you are, but you're attributing stuff. And that does kind of give this like eerie tension to the whole Tanaran situation. Which, in my mind, I think all these things that Hadrian's reading as smiles or as scowls or as threats, I think he's just a sweet guy. He's just a big puppy.
I mean, Tanaran, pretty kind, all things considered. I mean, pretty reasonable, especially considering like even Uvenari and what happened there. Yeah. He seems okay, you know?
Look, if I ask someone how big their house is and they said, it's probably a couple hundred U's, I'd be pissed. And he took that in stride pretty well. So, yeah. It's at least 40,000 of you.
Yep.
Be like, I cannot.
Your mama is so
that
fat.
Like, I get that we don't have a like collective way to like give shape, but that's I now I have to do the thing where I picture 10 of me lying side by side over and over and over again.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's too big a number.
Right.
Just say how many of this ship we could stack. Like, let's do that.
Yeah, and that leads him to like mutter a couple of curses, but then also leads Hadrian to think about the museum Hindus, which is just like a side tangent of a thing that we mentioned is like, are there other museum religions? And it's interesting that there are museum Hindus with Siddhartha existing, which
Siddhartha keeps coming up so much more confidently and consistently now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, so
just being adjacent. Obviously, Hinduism and Buddhism are very different things, and Siddhartha, the sort of story is very disconnected.
But it's still Sid Arthur.
But it's
right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Sid Arthur in the text.
Sid Arthur. Yeah,
because it is a combination of things. But it's just interesting to me that by comparison, the museum Hindus survive, and they don't have that information. But it's because the religion, I guess, survives, and they're not teaching anything.
Was there something with Alexander, but it wasn't quite pronounced right too?
Anaxander.
Anaxander, yes.
Which we'll definitely talk about later.
That's in a later spot. But there's all these little things.
I guess I can just explain it now. Anaxander actually is a name. It is a name of he calls it an old Earth king. He was a king of Sparta. Okay. He's the great grandfather of Leonidas, the one that we all know.
Interesting. Okay. Because my brain definitely just went to Alexander got messed up along the way.
It's real. It's legit. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy that he would pull that old Earth King, not Alexander the Great. But
well, exactly, right. But it's also the name apparently of one of his ancestors, which can confirm in another of the books. But
nice.
Yeah. Just from there's a Marlowe lineage in the back of one of the short story collections, which is interesting.
I don't read those.
Well, I know, but you can. You're allowed to read the first one, remember?
I'll read the short stories. I'm not going to read the lineage.
No, but it's a short story in and of itself. It's it's kind of Fire and Bloody in a way.
Yeah, I'll read it. All
right.
It's actually
I'll
pretty
good.
It
really explains Hadrian's dad really well, over the course of 4 pages, and you're like, oh, I kind of get it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But in a way where it's I don't sympathize with the Targaryens, but I thought that was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Okay.
All right, cool. Well, with that, we can move on to the Oracle, which is a crazy chapter. Could almost talk about this in and of itself for an episode length.
Thinking back, on my first read before I did my second one, I was like, that's a couple chapters, right?
Yeah, no.
That's one chapter.
It's also
that's
4
crazy.
pages. Yeah.
It's not a long chapter. No. It's a lot happens in this chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's some crazy some crazy shit happens in this chapter.
Just so everybody knows, Crossland's going to try and cut it out. He was coughing all gross style, like a sick little boy.
Yeah.
A gross, sick little pig boy. And I need everyone to know that.
Okay. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
It's the worst kind of cough because it's a phlegmy, gross cough. It's just
yeah.
And what sucks is I feel totally fine now. I'm
just there.
I'm just in a state of misery for just vocal misery for no reason. But whatever.
Hey, and I broke my hand because I'm stupid and have no spatial awareness. So here we are.
Here we
just
are.
A couple of gross little pig boys.
Gross little pig boys doing our little piggy podcast. My hair is so greasy right now. I'm like, wow, why do I look like an Italian from the 40s?
That's me usually. I'm usually Italian from the 40s.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, Baba da Boopa.
Yeah.
Ain't no way fascism's taking over in the next 2 years.
Ain't no way. Although they had fascism before that, but that's fine.
I mean, they basically invented it.
Yeah, they really did. Mussolini was going from the 30s, but the only reason that I'm that's super fresh in my mind is I have been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, in which it takes place in fascist Italy. So it was not meant to be a history, haha. It was more I've been playing a video game.
Italy came from Rome. They had their fascist moments.
Right, very true.
Sprinkled in there.
Definitionally, actually.
Yeah.
It was an intention in some circumstances.
It was a very well-curated fascism.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so we're going to temporarily make this guy called Caesar, and this is fascism.
Yeah.
You guys get it? And they're like, yeah. Then Caesar liked it too much, and then we stabbed him.
And they're like, oh, why did we give Caesar all that fascism? Oh, no.
I
guess we'll stab him.
Stab him. Also, Happy Ides of March, I guess. That was in the past.
We should stab that Caesar guy. I don't know. February seems too early. Next month.
Next month. Middle of the month. Payday.
Middle of the month. Yeah.
Get him on
what
payday.
day is the Ides of March?
15th.
Okay. So, and it's not related to St. Patty's Day at all. That's just a coincidence.
Yeah, very
I'm
close.
Kidding. Yeah.
Payday, though. It's a payday,
it?
generally. I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
you know?
I don't know. I get paid on every other Friday. So
yeah, which is sometimes. It could be the 15th. Actually, it would never be the 15th. Well,
I don't.
There's
never say never. I don't know how days work. There's leap years and shit. Everything gets thrown off eventually.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, there's going to be a time. Anyway, finally, the extra slaves let the Red Company off their ship, and Switch is freaked out. But Adrian still wants to head off on his own in this weird giant ship with its odd coterie tied together. As they head about through the marketplace, the cyberpunk landscape we become familiar with over the course of this book returns and reemerges, as we see in Urktani as well, like you mentioned early, this long, lanky bird person, but not a bird person, which he said before. It's important to note, but he contradicts himself a little bit here, damn it. Is there before us.
Yeah. Seeing an Urktani cool. Seeing an 8-foot Spider-Man. Pretty cool. And 8-foot metal spider with a human head, not like an 8-foot guy in a costume.
Yeah, not Andrew Garfield, right?
Yeah, and not Andrew Garfield, but Jacob Elordi height. Jacob Elordi now playing the tallest Spider-Man,
the tallest Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The Urktani is cool. The Spider-Man's cool.
Yeah, the Urktani's really cool. The 8-foot metal spider is barely there, but I think it's so funny how much it keeps coming up throughout this section. Hadrian gets separated from Switch. Oh, well, first off, I want to talk about, even before we even get to the Urktani, they come across like a market, and they're like selling an owl that they made. And there's just a line in there where he's like, yeah, the Emperor actually has 2 of my cats. You like cats? And I was like,
right.
He does like cats. Yeah. That's it. I thought that was intentional. Also, I think he mentioned like having never seen a cat. Like he's like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Whenever she's like, my name's Cat, like a cat. And he's like,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. So he still hasn't seen one, but the Emperor has 2. And this section does also bring Cat back up in a pretty specific way a little later on in this chapter. So I think this was like a little tease to get the brain ready. Get the brain ready for Cat.
I'd never necessarily considered that, but you're absolutely right. I think it is like a seeding the thought thing,
Slightly
hey,
intentional.
This is in this universe, by the way.
Yeah, and just you say Cat, and it's like, okay, later in this chapter we're gonna have a really important thing to do with Cat. I don't know, it's very subliminal mind prep to get you thinking about her a little bit.
Yeah.
Or it's just a funny joke about kitty cats. But
could be, probably not. No funny jokes.
Probably not. Yeah. And then him and Switch get separated. And whenever he's looking at the Urktani, he's like, look at the bird. And then can't find Switch. Which the Urktani is like a really cool design and very confusing for me to picture. But
big.
Is there art? Are you allowed to send me art?
I don't know that there is Urktani art, actually. I wonder.
I mean, Rule 34. It's out there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any official Urktani art. There's a lot of people that are associating art with Urktani, but it's not right.
I'm sure there's like an AO3, like Simeon gets bread, but
almost certainly. I kind of imagine it like, I'm sure you've seen like pterodactyls walking, you know what I mean? But as opposed to like the big wings that are spread out like this, they're tucked
like in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just kind of like doing a little groove. Yeah, I like it.
Something closer to that, more adjacent.
Yeah. I dig it. I dig the thing. I like that he thinks it's like a feather cloak, and then he's like, that's just this dude's hands.
Yeah. They got weird scale baits. Yeah.
I would love to talk about the Urktani more. Unfortunately, Christopher didn't. So,
he gave us a paragraph.
I was ready to go. Yeah, he's like, he's a little bird. Have fun, kids. Bye.
Here's another alien, by the way, in and amidst the rest.
Get to writing, you perverts, and then just kind of moved on. Yeah. But whenever they get separated, I do think it's really interesting that, like, in that moment, Hadrian sees Gibson.
he's kind of chasing after this green cloak of Gibson in a lot of ways. I do really love this quote that I want to bring up here real quick. As children, we imagine that there is a secret mythology in nature and that everything in nature is a party to it. As we grow, we experience enough of nature to know there is no such magic and are forced to inhabit the everyday. We trade the mythology of childhood for the knife-edged reality and call it truth, forgetting that there are deep truths and deeper magics in our universe.
I'm like 70% sure I know what he's saying there.
I think it's just like the death of innocence, right? Like it's a general note on the death of innocence, but then also like
there's this death of innocence, but there's this idea that like the magic that we dismiss as we grow older isn't actually not there. Like it still exists to a degree. We just shut it out,
or we miss it because we like don't don't see it one way or another. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Is the other thing. So it's an interesting thought.
Dragons were real.
Yeah. In somebody's mind.
According to a documentary I watched on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was 8.
Oh, just like Ancient Aliens, which is also
and aliens built the pyramids. Come on,
right?
Keep up.
Yeah,
I thought you knew about science. Let's
and
go.
A bunch of other things too. So Hadrian, like you mentioned, loses sight of Switch and believes he sees Gibson in this green cloak wandering off. And is brought to a man presenting as this oracle, a man who took a dip in the deeps, and we get our picture of Jari, this crewman who can see the future because of this animalcule called the deeps from Appas, as he sees everything. And this is sort of like the elevator pitch, right? This is the elevator pitch of should Hadrian go see this oracle.
Dude, I swear to God, the deeps from Appas is how I've been introduced to like 90% of reggae musicians in San Diego. They're like, yo, you met the deeps from Appas?
You're like, Appas is, for sure.
What is that? And they're like, oh, he's so sick. He's in this sick reggae band called Animalcule or whatever. They're like algae, but they make you see the future, bro.
It does, in not even in hindsight, in present sight, it does seem, especially the way that I wrote that's like very much what that is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you ever take a hit of the deeps, bro? It'll be like 1,000 little dudes live in you and then become you, and you have to like trade them your soul. It's crazy. It lasts like 5 minutes.
I did want to make mention that my microbiologist girlfriend disliked the term animalcule. She was like,
I don't think I liked it. Like, I didn't have a scientific reason for it. I just didn't like it.
She's like, if it's an animal and it's a molecule, like if it's molecular, then like, sure, I guess. And she was like, okay, but we call them just animals. Like, it doesn't matter the size.
Yeah.
They're a part of whatever
animalcules,
kingdom.
I don't know. It's fun. Feels bad. I don't like the idea of it.
And I get it from like a technical point of like, you don't need to explain every little thing and say like, it's a molecule that is an animal that it does this,
right. Do you think the deeps is just like really advanced tardigrades?
Basically.
Okay, cool.
It's just like the future of tardigrades. Yeah.
They've just been taken over slowly.
Very slowly. From everything that you touch.
Yep. Yeah, no. The Oracle is for a second who I thought was on the cover. Kind of described by like being held up by like these pipes and wires and stuff, and I was like, he doesn't have a sword. But admittedly, the first cover had nothing to do with anything we saw. So maybe they just added a sword so he'd seem cool.
It's true. In addition, he doesn't have legs, I don't believe either. And Kharn Sagara clearly has toesies in that photo.
Yeah, he's got them dogs out.
Yeah. Them dogs.
Free.
They out.
Yeah. Free feet on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good reason to buy this book.
Yeah. Thanks, Kieran Yanner.
Yeah. Thanks, Kieran. So Kharn Sagara's toesies, solid ska band name.
And they would introduce you to Animalcule from Appas.
Yeah, they'd be like, you met Animalcule from Appas? Yeah, they're so sick, dude.
Have you met their brothers, the Deeps? Also from Appas, dude.
I'm just gonna jump a little into this section.
Yeah, no. Fire away. There's like a lot of shit that happens in this.
There's this whole kind of like, is this bullshit? And then I love hitting him with that like, well, I guess first off, his past is broken. Their ship was stripped clean. Yeah. I need to know what fucking happened to that ship. Yeah, I kind of like dismissed a lot of that lost time until this, and it's like something very important happened between when Hadrian gets frozen and when he wakes up in the gutter, and we don't know it. But hitting him with that like, grab him up, girl. Like I was like, who gonna like that's, and then we just continue right in to that like, tell me a story, Hayden, one last time. I'm like, I got like emotional at 7:45 a.m. driving to work.
Yeah. Leopards, lions, and bears as well, or lions and wolves. And so like that's those three things in sequence kind of proving to him that it's like, whatever the fuck is going on here, there's like some semblance of truth.
Yeah. So such a cool moment. Maybe if you've seen your future and it freaked you the fuck out, don't ask the weird, insane multi-organism prophet man to look at your future, because he's not going to go well.
You're going to just shine light at you a bunch, you know?
Yeah, and you're like, I get it, you like Death Note, but yeah.
I was going Fifth Element in my head, like Aziz, light! From the very first
light
scene.
Yagami! Yeah. Light Yagami! And I'm like, yeah okay.
Yeah. Get him! We need him!
Get him! But yeah, such a cool, riveting scene where, man, every time this book teases me just with like a little tickle of the quiet, I'm like so into it. And this one definitely like brings back that moment of like, what the fuck was happening in Caligo when he like slipped into the weird dream chamber. Mm-hmm. But we're back, and I'm sure I won't hear anything more about it for 2 books. But
yeah.
Christopher Rocchio, if I ever see you in the streets, you motherfucker.
although there's a good conversation later about the quiet too. It's not completely even out of this section yet, you know?
You're right.
You know, the creature turns to Hadrian as a part of this and says, "We are not them," before repeating that the past is broken. Upon seeing the light, cannot stop repeating it nonstop, leading Hadrian to leave.
Yeah. I like that this does imply that like I guess I was struggling in my back and forths. Does this imply in your mind that the Deep knows through Hadrian's past who he's talking about, like specifically just has seen Caliga through Hadrian's past and is like, that's not us? Or do you think the Deep knows the quiet? It's like, we're not who you think we are.
I don't know. What do you think?
I want to know what happens in like seasons 6, 7, and 8 that makes the Deep turn into whatever the fuck this is from The Boys, you know? Like right now he just talks to fish, so I don't know how he's going to become
how he gets here.
An animalcule that sees the future, but I assume it's going to have something to do with like Compound V.
I do think that my tendency to read that is they're saying that like they can see the past and future maybe a little bit in some lens, but that's not them. That like they see interfering, like that's not us or whatever.
Yeah, I want the quiet.
Yeah.
Show me. I want to know about this.
Well, we're getting there eventually.
Like book 7, or
I mean, like one of them. Definitely one of them will tell you.
That fucking better.
Fucking definitely does.
Okay, cool.
No spoilers, but definitely you get the spoiler.
That's good. That's good to know. Yeah. That actually is kind of helpful.
It's a relief to know that there is an answer.
Yeah. I really don't need some like The best part's the fact that it was a mystery all along.
Volka swings by Hadrian's room as he's left contemplating his encounter with Jari and joins her on a journey to the concourse. She finds his laconic mood to be a lot and says that she enjoys their disagreements because they're friends. It's a sweet moment between the pair as they walk the concourse and look out for interesting things, debate the nature of integrated technology into flesh, and much more, including Tanaran, like we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because Hadrian's single again, but it seems like they kind of flirting again just a little bit, you know. But also like it's still that classic. Like I don't know if Valka's flirting with you or if you're like, hey, if you want me to come with you, you can just ask, you know. And then she doesn't respond. It is fun to kind of see her like poke at Hadrian and try and break him out of his mood. It shows like a level of like understanding and camaraderie from the years we didn't get to see, where she kind of understands like how Hadrian gets and how to kind of like work him out of that. I think that that's nice.
Yeah.
We get another mention of the 8-foot metal spider and the fact that
Nazarene.
She's not. Wait, what?
I think it's like, isn't he named like Nazarene? Are we
get a name? I didn't notice we ever got a name for the 8-foot metal spider.
Well, isn't it? It's the guy that was piloting the ship. It's the pilot.
No, whenever
the
they
other.
First,
I know who you're talking about.
Whenever they first start walking around, they just see a random 8-foot metal spider with a human head, and they're like, "The fuck was that?" And then multiple times throughout this whole section, they just keep referencing back, and Hadrian's like, "I don't know, like these guys are scary," and Switch is like, yeah, but at least she's not an 8-foot metal spider.
Yeah, you're not.
And then right here, it happens again, and she's like, you know, I'm a demoniac, and he's like, yeah, but you're not an 8-foot metal spider.
Yeah.
And I do kind of like that, like constant callback to this just one weird looking guy they saw when they landed. Yeah, this is also very classic emo Hadrian. You know, he's being very like, you wouldn't understand.
You don't get me. You don't get my ways. No, it's fine. But yeah, it is very much it's very classic Hadrian in a lot of different ways. This also leads to a really interesting conversation as Valka brings up the question of what Hadrian should do after Vorgosos. How they both feel about Pisander or Smythe maybe coming after him in the long run. They conclude that neither group seems so likely to be chasing him, but it doesn't stop his questioning of why Valka would want him to do something else. You know, like don't go back to war, which then leads into this conversation about her backstory, which is just excellent.
Yes. Valka's backstory is very like efficiently done, but it's real good. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I was like, it made me think of another Red Rising moment, but I won't do a full spoiler on that. But, you know, it makes me think of like a certain dockyard, shipyard. And it has this like kind of greater galactic scale good versus some innocent deaths now thing. And I could totally see like why she's so broken up. It's like I killed thousands of like innocent captives that were in Fugue just to save like money and comfort of the people on the planet below. But then Hadrian has that really nice like kind of like other view of it. He's like, no, I've seen those mirrors that could have crushed a city. It would have killed a lot more than a couple thousand. So it does kind of start becoming this like big numbers game. But then I do kind of like Valka's conclusion on there, not to jump ahead too much, but where it's like, no, but like the point is I never want to have to make that kind of decision again. Agent's like, you won't. She's like, no one should have to make like, just stop putting yourself in these positions where you're going to end up being the one who has to make that kind of decision. He's like, I'm fine. I'll blow up a sun or nothing.
Yeah, specifically, he goes into this lovely quote, I think, right around exactly what you're saying, which is, I've told you I once believed that wars were fought with words, not soldiers. I have told you I was wrong. Here was my first glimmering of that realization. For when war is done, no matter how small, pieces of it remain. Most of the shrapnel is carried in the hearts and souls of those who visited that strange country we call battle. Wherever such people go, be it to the brightest garden, they are at war. To say that such people do not fight wars, as I had, to say such do not win them, was a dishonor, a dismissal of their struggle and pain. I understood that then, as one can only learn by experience.
I like I like that whole section.
Mhm.
There's just like sometimes whenever he's in these kind of flowery paragraphs, there'll be like a sentence that really stands out to me, and I like that strange country we call battle. I don't
Oh
know what
yeah.
it is about that stands out so hard to me, but
Yeah.
that's some tasty ink right there. Like he
Yeah. You write that whole paragraph to get to that line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was some garlic in that pen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love that whole kind of concept, this idea that like the war continues in the battle that we like carry with ourselves after living with what we've done and what's been done to us. And um yeah, it's a dishonor to dismiss the fact that wars are fought and won by the people that sacrifice everything for it. And it's a good section, but there's one real good little sentence.
There's like it's juicy. But you can't just read like the one little like tidbit.
Yeah, you can't be like
the context is good.
Carried in the hearts and soul. Well, man, even just that one sentence. Most of this shrapnel is carried in the hearts and souls of those who visited that strange country we call battle. It's just
shrapnel to battle is so good.
Shrapnel to battle.
I did pull out an earlier section too that I think is really good, and it's similarly short. Afraid is an ugly word. It's an ugly thing. It's the wrong word, I said, tugging the collar of my old coat up around my face. I'm horrified.
Yeah. And I was like, that's worse. But also, like, this is one of those moments where it's like Hadrian's being his classic, like, super emo self. I love that he can't just be like, afraid is an ugly word. It's the wrong word. I'm horrified. He has to be like, pop the collar. Like, oh, I'm horrified. It's horrific.
Yeah.
I love our melodramatic boy, but like I like I love and hate the addition of like tugging at the collar of my old coat, which like he's already specified as like a black coat with tails. You know, like he's Hadrian, and yes he is.
It's very like noir detective too, like in a weird way that like totally fits the vibe of the book, for the record, like
dude,
right into cyberpunk land. But
R.I.P. Hadrian Marlowe. You would have loved Spider-Man Noir.
Actually, I think he might have hated it. He's too serious.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we just don't even address the massive age disparity or the fact that he looks nothing like him. We just cast Nick Cage as Hadrian Marlowe and never address it.
Nicolas Cage does all of the voiceover from the end of the series, but when we get to the 7th book / adaptation, we don't have Nick Cage. We have someone else entirely show up.
It's just still Nick Cage. Like it's like when you're like, wait, when does he become Bob Saget watching How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, right. Right. You just time jump from whoever. We'll just play someone. We'll say Hadrian Marlowe played by do you casting young Hadrian Marlowe.
Young Hadrian Marlowe. I don't know. One of those dudes who has like a Dylan McDermott type name or something.
We'll say Jack O'Connell, even though it's terrible casting from Sinners. The
Jack O'Connell for Hadrian Marlowe.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I mean, I love Jack O'Connell. He's so good.
We're putting him in, and we're just going to use that as an example. Okay. And then in the 7th book, with Nicolas Cage doing all of the voiceover acting up until this point, we're hopping in to Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, like that's who's writing it. It's Stellan Skarsgård and the voice of Nicolas Cage.
Yes, exactly.
As written by Christopher Rocchio, screenplay by
Michael Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Scott. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll watch it. Yeah, it can't be as bad as Tron Ares.
No, it can't. It honestly can't. Oh,
if you want to hear about Cross's honest thoughts about Tron Ares, you should become a patron and listen to our Devil's Cuts.
I'll give you a heads up. I didn't like it, but that's.
Wait, I thought you said you loved it. It's your favorite movie you've seen in a long time.
Do you remember the bit I said about Robert Pattinson? That's go check out the Devil's Cut.
Go check out the Devil's Cut. Crossland said that Tron Ares might be like one of the most transcendent pieces of media he's ever seen. It just really reminded him what he loves about cinema, and his favorite actor, Jared Leto, just crushes it.
Yeah, crushed it right into the toilet. Okay, with that, we'll go on to the Dark World. With my own eyes, a quote here to start, I beheld the white curve of her beneath the black and baleful eye of her dead star. Never before had I seen such an undead sun. Stillborn, a pitiful brown dwarf glowing less than the meanest ember, vaster than the vastest world. And finally, here we are at dim Vorgosos, a frozen world, atmosphere turned to ice, with a singular black spar standing on its surface as they arrive to take this down eventually here. Not within this chapter, but soon.
Yeah. It's a great line. It's one of the only lines I remember from this chapter. I feel
it's a short.
This is one of those chapters where I'm like, I don't know
yeah.
how far it goes, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Because I guess like it's weird. I'm like, all right, we're talking to Valka, and then the next thing I like really remember is we're on like the like train car down into the city. Or it's not a train car. It's
yeah. This chapter happens between that, but barely.
Yeah. I also think that I really like that Valka chapter, and it always has me like just kind of thinking about it after it happens while this chapter plays. And then I kind of lock back in when I'm like, oh, yeah, he did a Han Solo quote. And then it's like the next chapter. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. I was just reading it and I was like, in particular, when I was going through and rereading this, again, I'm trying to reread this physically, especially these early books, because I only listened to them the first time through. So I'm trying to like pick up a little bit more just by physically reading it. And in particular, this was one that just like caught me, that definitely didn't catch me on the first read through. Just that like Eye of the Dead Star, an undead sun, stillborn, like star and planet, you know, they're kind of just trapped. So interesting. The meanest ember, you know, like there's this, it's just good. This good fucking really fucking writing. Yeah. Damn it. But it is really easy. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes purple prose you can also just like totally tune it out. This again, what was I playing at this point? Was I still playing Elden Ring? No. Maybe. It was an open world game, definitely, that I was very much enjoying. That became like a thing in 2003 to 2004, playing open world games and listening to audiobooks. And this was on that front. But, damn. Yeah, fun. So the Red Company all attempt to make contact through the door, but there were no customs, no officers to greet them, no advertisements, no nothing. They end up being locked in and unable to communicate, and they have no choice but to continue forward. Hadrian says, I have a bad feeling about this, and like, I get that we're paying homage.
You can't do that in a sci-fi and not have it be a direct reference. You know?
That's a direct call out. And Christopher loves Star Wars, so like, makes sense.
Yeah, he's like, I got a bad feeling about this, and Valka's like, the chances of survival are da-da-da-da-da, and then Switch is like, never tell me the odds.
Yeah, exactly. There is a line later with Kharn in which he's talking about the high matter blades, and I didn't put this in the notes, but I thought about it originally when I read through it, and I'm just remembering it now, so I want to bring it up. Where he almost says something very similar to what General Grievous says. He's like, I want to add it to my collection. And like, it just feels similarly coded, you know?
Yeah. Wait, is Kharn Sagara just
Grievous in a trench
coat? Grievous in a yellow robe, but yeah
right. Fair, I mean, similar idea. Okay.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you got for the weekends you got your trench coat, for the weekdays you got your yellow robe. Either way, you're General Grievous.
Either way, you're leading those robots armies.
Oh yeah, and which we do see here in the next chapter in an upsetting way, but
true in weird ways. With that, let's get into the profane city. We move to Hadrian and the crew descending, and Hadrian dreams deep dreams of people shouting, of funerals, of more. He wakes, shakes himself, and sees the profane city beneath as they're kind of descending the spire and have descended, and it's wondrous in a lot of ways. Hell, the place even has pigeons. He notes that it has birds.
Yeah,
Hell would have pigeons. I'm just saying.
Hell would have pigeons?
Yes.
I give pigeons a lot of grace. It's not their fault.
It's inappropriate.
We did this to them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. As far as I know, the only animals that we on a massive level domesticated and then abandoned.
True. We did completely abandon them.
Yeah. And then pigeons are like hanging out, trying to eat our food, trying to get close to us. And we're like, ew, sky rat. And I'm like, you taught them to do that like less than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And now you're mad that they're doing what you told them to do.
Yeah.
They just want to carry your mail. You let robots take their jobs with email, and then now all of a sudden they're gross. Like,
robots,
I'm gonna get pigeoned by humanity pretty soon.
That's how we all feel.
Yeah. So yeah, at least like we kept horses around like as a novelty. Like we don't need them anymore, but like people just still like them. Pigeons, we were just like, fuck you, sky rat, and.
We don't try to kill them. We just put like spike things on buildings.
Yeah,
so we treat perch places.
We treat pigeons a lot like we treat homeless people.
Yeah,
which is to say, way worse than we should.
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
I think the three collections in society that are just treated worse than they have any right to be are homeless people, pigeons, and skateboarders. In that order, homeless people first, like they get the worst.
And there are no others that belong in that list, for the record.
And then skateboarders. Yeah, well, there's plenty of others.
No,
but
I'm kidding.
It's intersectional.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. It's intersectional. Get away from my homeless pigeon skateboarder.
It's like, dude. Pigeon, like if you had a home, maybe start skating, but like
he's got 2 tech decks, man. He's like just doing tech decks.
One on each talon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really more rollerblading, roller skating, I guess, because it's 4 wheels on each. But
I mean, can you do a double kickflip?
I really want to see a roller skating pigeon.
Don't ask AI. That's not real.
No, but I feel like because they are a little domesticated still, we could train one.
And I'm sure we could feed it just a French fry and it would stay around.
And it would be like, yeah, you want me to roller skate?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'll grab that. Where's the
we
ramp?
friends again?
Yeah. This might be our most absurd tangent ever.
Side tangent on pigeons. I do actually feel strongly about pigeons and how we did them dirty, and I want to give them all like little neck scritches, but
very funny.
Now,
I wrote a short story about killing the pigeons in my walls. We are different.
A lot of people that hate pigeons don't understand that the real enemy is seagulls. Fuck those guys.
True.
Those are the bad birds.
Very
seagulls
true.
And geese.
Geese, yeah.
Yeah. So
pigeons in your walls, they were pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Cool.
I've never had a pigeon in my walls.
Well, I had a collection of them. Yep.
Yeah, they were just trying to move in.
They were fucking
domestic animals. All right. Sorry.
Anyway.
There's pigeons in the city because it's a good city. No, I do love that it like he notates like in these other areas there were all of these advertisements and it was very Blade Runner, but this is like very we leave Blade Runner and we enter Dune. Like
yeah, true.
So where it's very like rock quarry, very clean, very like specific angular sci-fi rather than like hollow spheres and prostitutes and religion everywhere, like we leave Blade Runner, we entered it.
Yeah, definitely. I almost like mentally, I don't know why this is. I think of both, and I'm just like fully in this book for some reason. You've already made so many Star Wars jokes. I'm fully in Attack of the Clones mode.
Yeah.
And like not a good movie. There are elements.
I guess there is that
great.
Scene where Valka gets scratched by a tiger just so that half of her shirt can be gone.
Right, absolutely, definitely a thing. Way to go, George Lucas.
The 11-year-old me did really like that.
Yeah, tough for the 11-year-olds out here. That said, I do think. How do I say this? I get Genosha, a little bit of Genosha, the like bug planet, and Camino, because they're both clean and absent of a lot of these things. Well, now, Camino's all round architecture, but Genosha is like the angular, But Dune at this point is like a better reference for sure.
But Camino's a good sell because we do learn the main export that Kharn Sagara is doing for the Palatines is cloning.
Is clones, right? Which is why I'm like, it's a combination of the two for a lot of reasons. But like, it is. I get Attack on
and
Attack
Kharn
on the Clones.
Sagara 100% sounds like a Mandalorian name.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Jango Fett and Kharn Sagara. You know?
Yeah, right. They could be right next to each other in the cantina, and I would not bat an eye.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's Kamosha. It's
Kamosha.
Janino. It's Janino.
Janino with a little Dune in there.
Janino sounds like a very mediocre Italian sauce can, like jarred Italian sauce brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I do want to give you a lot of credit.
And there's Janino, you know.
I do want to give you a lot of credit though for the Arrakis comparison, because I do think that Arrakis is very angular. Obviously, that's newer imagery than this book, because I think this book is 2019.
This is Denis Villeneuve, Arrakis, but it's not just that it's angular. I think it's the
lack of advertisements, cold stone.
The lack of advertisements, but the quarried stone, the feeling that this is like made from the natural stone of the planet, but still created in a very sci-fi but very orderly way.
It also gives it an old feel, like a tomb, which he keeps describing it as. He's like a tomb, like a tomb, like a tomb.
Yeah. You ever go to a tomb and you're like, this guy's definitely going to be dead. And then instead he's 15,000 years old and can't die. Yeah.
And also, like, Hadrian's thinking about funerals and shit all the time, you know?
Yeah. I mean, his grandma's funeral really fucked him up.
Really fucked him up. Those masks haunting his dreams.
Yep. Oh, man. He would hate Angie Kills a King.
Oh, yeah. Lots of masks there. So the crew ultimately is left to debate which direction to head into to find this undying, as they talk of both his will to do things the Exalted won't. There's a brief reflection on Sid Arthur again and Christ, both having their different reflections on life as suffering, and you choose that, which Hadrian reflects as why he despised March Station as much as he did, and inasmuch compares this place favorably with his home. Basically just like talking down like suicide and other things like that effectively in its own way.
Yeah, but like, there was
selectively
an interesting quote, and I don't remember it exactly, but it's basically like the most inherent thing that we have as humans is choice. So whenever like choice becomes like commodified to the level that it is on a planet like on a station like March Station, it's like dehumanizing, whereas here like all of that's gone. But also it's really, I'm pretty sure this is where he starts talking about like how back on his home planet, which is, oh man, come on Josh, lock in, where's Hadrian from? What's the Delos?
There you
Delos.
Go. You want to know an easy way to know it? Remember it? Delos and Delphi were two different places where oracles existed in Greek mythology. Delphi, Delos.
I'm going to go with Hadrian destroys a sun one day. And so there's Denos no more.
Denos. De no more. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah. Okay, Delos.
It's cool. Just ignore the Greek history.
Delphi.
That's good. We love that.
I'm pretty sure the Greek history stole Delphi from the Deer Hunter song, The Oracles of the Delphi Express, where he meets a bunch of oracles on a train called the Delphi Express. I'm pretty sure they stole it from that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deer Hunter. So
listen
good.
to the Deer Hunter, everybody. Yeah. They're great. And definitely not inspired by Greek mythology or Moulin Rouge.
Not even a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Moulin Rouge.
I like the thing that I was saying I like, and it's gone now, and I forget what I was talking about.
You were talking about his...
Oh, yes. He talks about how Alistair had outlawed advertisements, even printed ones. And he says it as this like positive thing that kept Delos nice. And he's just describing like pure state level fascism.
Brutalist. Yeah. Brutalism.
Like, yeah. Just like, oh, like nobody's like, and he talks about like the super harsh punishments for anybody who like writes a message in paint on something. Like it's this like this idea of really, really suppressing the people from having any expression or way to communicate or get any sort of level of like community to understand that they're even worth rising up. But he's describing it as like, yeah, and that's why Delos was nice. Like, damn, Hadrian, you a little more fucked up than you realize.
You don't realize that how bad the system is actually for you.
Yeah, well, the system was really good because it benefited him.
Right, yeah. Which he remarks upon from time to time, but does not reflect on well here. Yeah,
right. He's really mad that Valka sleeps with sex slaves.
Really mad.
Yeah, and he would never do nothing bad, like celebrate a society that will crucify you if you try and share flyers to like have a meet and greet about how like your life's bad because you're oppressed under the heel of like a really terrible extra human fucking family.
Yeah, uranium lord
uses you as uranium mind slaves. But yeah, you know, Hadrian would never sleep with a
really
sex
not
worker.
A problem. Yeah,
he's fine with children dying in mines for profit. But...
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very fucked up, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that little section, and I thought it was very interesting to see him like kind of look so fondly on such an oppressive system that his father had in place.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting for him to reflect on that and like kind of bring that in as a comparison point, and it especially shows again that sort of like complicated reality that Hadrian exists in, and that's a part of like what brings.
If you look at March Station, like that's
character.
negative too. That's like hyper late stage capitalism, where like now the capitalism is oppressing people's ability to live, but like. At the same time, what you just described, Hadrian, is not great.
It may seem better, but your impression of better is also one in which you weren't spending much time on the ground level.
Yeah, if Kat lived on Delos, I doubt she would feel the way you do about it.
Great comparison to bring up for sure. Yeah. So we get to old Shara, an old woman of whom confronts them. Hadrian asks her directly about the Sealson, and he gives her a Hurasam in the hopes of her sticking around to give any information on where the Undying might be and who visits him and why, leading Hadrian to reveal that this is in fact Kharn Sagara's resting place. So this is where it's fully revealed that this is where Kharn Sagara is. Before he gets knocked out.
Yeah. There's this interesting thing that I think comes up with Hadrian a lot, where because he's Palatine, certain people come up to him and expect to be hit, which doesn't feel great. This is another one of those moments.
He ends on one of those moments this week too, which is crazy.
Yeah, and so he gives her a little money, and then the Psalms start showing up. Spooky little guys. I didn't like them before, and I don't like them now, but I really like them as a reader, you know?
Yeah. And this is also where we get Anaxander, which we talked about for the first time. This is where I think he says Hadrian Anaxander for the first time.
What kind of a name is Anaxander? But
Psalms are freaky, and it's freaky to see him again. Yeah.
There's some descriptions there that I really like, where it's like, if you've ever looked at like a corpse's face, that's not a face. That like used to be a face, but that's not a face anymore, because whatever made it actually human is gone now, and that's all the faces that turned and looked at us.
Yeah.
And so they like twitched into life.
Faceless. They had faces once. If you've seen a corpse, as all of us eventually do, you've seen the Guardians of Orgosos. The dead do not have faces, not truly. They have objects that used to be faces, but whose cheeks and jowls are animated by no will, and so hang like old meat from hooks in an abattoir.
So good. Good. There's also a description on these ones that wasn't on the previous ones and is notated that makes these ones different, which is there is a dull like green glow from somewhere deep within their skulls that highlights the skull itself within their face. That's crazy cool imagery. There's just a bunch of like glowing, like there's just this soft glow that highlights the skull itself over this puppeteered face. Oh man, upsetting creatures. I don't know if this is where, I think it's later, maybe, but there's like a mention of like, whenever you like break a law, you're allowed to either be exiled or become a psalm. And he's like, who the fuck would choose a psalm? They're like, anyone who doesn't want to freeze to death on the surface, because that's what exile was. And you're like,
I think that is in the next section,
yeah.
but yes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like you kind of get an idea of how these psalms come to be, why there's so many of them, but they are very upsetting to look at. And then Hadrian gets shocked, and I feel like that's where we roll the like dun, 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 music, like with a freeze frame of him getting shock sticked, you know. Just hit him with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.
Absolutely. I want to bring up a quote here that I didn't put in the script that I'd forgotten to, because actually I think I didn't finish my notes on this chapter because I got sucked into a T.S. Eliot hole, I think is what happened to me. And then I picked it up like when I next started doing the notes on the next chapter, because I was like, oh, I finished that clearly, obviously.
Fair enough. Yeah.
There is a great line that this chapter almost closes out with that like music where it's eyes I dare not meet in dreams. Which is a line from T.S. Eliot from The Hollow Man, which is a poem that he wrote, or The Hollow Men, excuse me. Which Psalms, Hollow Men, fucking Rockio's pulling out some
Pretty
heaters
good.
in this book by
Pretty
comparison.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I would never have caught that, but you got a good point.
I love Eliot. I think is generally Eliot and Keats, I think, are generally praised as two of the greatest poets of all time. Generally, there are others obviously in that list, but The Wasteland in particular being highlighted as one of the best. And I've studied a lot of Eliot because of a book series that we will eventually get to called The Dark Tower right there, which is sort of like a key text for the series. And I just love The Hollow Men in particular because it has this sort of call, and it's also in that book series. And so it's kind of a fun connection note here between the two, where when I read that line, I was like, I fucking know that. And I know so much about like the context of what he's trying to get at there. However,
Nice.
while I would love to talk about that right now, I think it's less
I have
relevant.
a quick question.
Yeah, fire away.
I have a quick question before we jump into wherever you're going about the Dark Tower, actually.
Yeah. Fire away.
As someone who has not read much King, I mean, specifically has only finished Buchanan books at this point.
Yeah.
Whenever we do the Dark Tower, and we don't have to discuss this now, I just think it's fun to tease a little while also I get my answer I need. Are we going just straight through the Dark Tower, or are we taking time to read the books that will eventually tie into the Dark Tower? Because
Josh, I'm doing that already with you.
Okay.
As like standalones.
Okay, cool. Because I feel like I need so much more King understanding to do the Dark Tower
but you don't.
justice.
So we're going to take two intentional detours within the series that are, one is ultra necessary. It's basically a Dark Tower book, but isn't. And it really should be, because it provides so much context that it is like the only necessary extra text, in my opinion. But we'll take a couple of others that I think are very good and helpful and bonuses in a lot of way. So
Yeah,
like there are a couple...
I need to read it? Is it okay that I know what deadlights are? You know?
Yeah, no, like it's what's interesting about the Stephen King multiverse is like a lot of it isn't necessary text, like I'm saying. But you get bonus content in its own way, and it does kind of fill out a larger spectrum of things, but that's not necessary.
Okay. It's like reading Stormlight Archives. Like, yeah, you don't necessarily need to know the entire Cosmere, but it does hit a point where you're like, I bet he's referencing something.
No, actually, he avoids doing that to the extent that Brandon does, where it feels like you're missing out on something. So much as it is, he's clever. I don't mean to besmirch Brandon Sanderson.
No, Brandon Sanderson's really good at writing a lot of books, and he makes some cool
King
moments.
King is far more clever than Sanderson in a lot of ways, and so he manages to tuck subtext in that calls things out without it being text in a lot of ways. So there are some great nods cleverly to certain things. There are also some very direct ones where if you like he's not all subtext. But he does a lot.
I feel like it's going to be like Deadlights or The Shining or something that I need to know about, you know, but
no, so you can't read one book we're reading in, or two books we're going to read in sequence but we're gonna read a couple of other ones on the outside for fun, like Salem's Lot, like
very excited about
Hearts in
Salem's Lot.
Atlantis, like Eyes of the Dragon, which was Stephen King's first fantasy novel. It's like 200 pages. He wrote it for his kids, similar to The Hobbit. He, it's kind of his same Hobbit-y sort of story.
Yeah.
So there are a small handful that I want to read, but we're gonna do those as sort of like short pour style. Like, hey, here's the book.
Okay.
Read it on your own time, and then we'll talk about it. So
very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a tangent. I've been wondering like how we're gonna tackle the fact that the Dark Tower is kind of, in my understanding, a through line of what makes
it's
Stephen
like a
King's
spine,
universe.
but it's not necessarily like you don't need the ribs,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's
the
what
ribs
I
are
always
fun.
be saying.
Yeah.
I don't need ribs.
Outside of
Take
like
them
a
out,
couple,
doctor.
you gotta get those ribs that do hold the heart in, and there's one that
but if
you
I
really
remove
need.
the bottom two, then I can do cool stuff with myself.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Marilyn Manson taught me well.
No, to wrap up the point on T.S. Eliot real quick. The point is, I don't want to get into all of that right now, in part because Hadrian doesn't, Rockio doesn't, and I'm going to talk so much about T.S. Eliot in The Dark Tower that it's going to be unbearable. Like, we probably are going to read Wasteland as a supplementary material. Because it makes sense. Like, I don't know.
Sweet. Yeah.
As like a standalone, because like I think
I read what you tell me to read.
I know,
so.
but I just think that it probably makes sense to talk about that in its entirety, because then we can point to it more directly versus me just going, aha, see?
And that's one of those things where, like I have mentioned, I would be down to read more like classic literature,
right?
That highlights what we're reading. So
yeah. And like, obviously we're going to talk about this when we come back from our little break here, but like Dante's Inferno has been a big point. This whole novel is maybe like the mirror novel for this book in its own way.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I've never read Dante's Inferno, but at least I'm very familiar with the material.
yeah. I've read bits and pieces. I've not read the entire Inferno. I have read Paradiso.
Now I've read the whole Dungeon Master's Guide,
Purgatorio.
including the section on the Hells, which is basically just the Cliff Notes of Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Truly, like the layers of hell are literally basically ripped from that, but also like the modern Christian concept of hell is ripped from Dante's Inferno.
Yes, exactly.
So also it's important to realize that, like, anyway.
When you realize that the only hell in the Bible is just kind of like a cemetery.
Yeah, right. That's a whole thing to unpack. It's sort of a larger conversation that we don't need to have for people, but also do a little bit of research.
Yeah, it's crazy. It gets crazy. Place of wailing and gnashing of teeth, and there's not much more than that. But
hey. All right. Well, with that, we'll move into our drink segment here with our fun cocktails.